Hi there. So we already know how to run animations, right? So now I want us to challenge these things, okay? So I was online and then I saw this animation here, right? I saw it to be most cool. The other ones I see them, they're fine, so on and so on and so on and so on, but they're not being realistic on our applications, okay? Maybe this one would be yes, but then what about this one? Maybe yes, maybe no. What about this one? This one is much more ugly. Sorry for that. Okay, so I saw this animation and I was like, okay, this will be a much more better way to say that, okay, my students should not know how to actually go about one keyframe, okay? They must be able to declare more than one keyframe. Maybe use two, maybe use three. But when we see three dots like this, we're gonna use three keyframes, right? Because we need to individually control each and every dot there, okay? So now I have this style, right? Obviously, my setup for HTML is still the same way. It's just simple. So something to wrap up all the cycles there. You see it's ending here and then my cycles are in here. Then we set their cycles and then they still carried what about the radius, a width, and the height which are equal, and then I just give them a background color of black, right? So we are used to saying that dot three or maybe dot class, but we can use commas to separate, to say to include other classes or tags to share properties, these properties that are inside. Okay, I think we've touched on that one. So if I said I wanted to add a H2 here, it means that even H2 will have a background color of black, a height of 250, width of 250, so on and so on and so on, right? So here, this is how we write an animation. We have demonstrated that, right? In the previous video and in the previous class. So it means that you have two advantages. You had the video and then you had a physical class there, right? So now, here's the deal. I'll do that this for now and just close this. So what I'm gonna do is that I wanted all the three cycles to share these properties, but I want them to have different keyframes. But when I have different keyframes, remember that I can only call and declare or set keyframe by names. Okay, I'll just come and copy or cut out this animation name, right? So I'll go underneath and say what? Add keyframes, right? And then animation name, right? It was what? Oh no, I'm not supposed to add that yet. I'm supposed to say that class one, and then drop this, right? And then say class two. Oh, it's cycle two, not class one. Cycle two. This one is cycle two. Apologies. Then here, then I'll drop this. Let me just rather copy this to avoid making more mistakes. Okay, I just hope it goes well as I am thinking, and then I'll just keep on explaining the logic as we go. Okay, so we'll also touch on what's the actual definitions of the is in, is out, and so on and so on, right? As I've mentioned. So now, those animation names we have for cycle one here, rather, I'm keeping on making mistakes. It's copy and pasting, right? So I'm gonna use each keyframe there, right? I'm just gonna say keyframes like this, and then I'll do what? I'll say dots, right? But dots is for keyframe cycle one, cycle two, cycle three. So it means that it will still do the same thing as cycle one, cycle two, cycle three, right? So just see what dots one here, and then call it this keyframe dots two, then call this keyframe dot three. So I'll say here, I'll say dot one, right? Then I'll copy this whole keyframe structure and then, oh no, I copied again instead of pasting. I'm tired. Okay. Then I'll just say what format document. This feature, I'm gonna abuse it. I'm gonna abuse it forever and ever and ever. So when we're at these, we know that everything is functional because we've already declared the animation, right? Properties there and all that. But here's what's happening. When I refresh this, nothing happens yet, but the animation is already running. The only thing is that it is running from 0 to 100% with background color black. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to also say that I don't want all the cycles to be background color black. I'm gonna remove it here. Okay, I'm gonna say what? The dot one, the cycle, I want it to be background color black. Um, what? Oh, I was supposed to specify where the time frame, right? Or the interval, right? I'll just say background color black here, right? Let me just say format document here and then, or let me just add also 100% here and then do like this. Okay, then I'm just gonna paste this ones here and then paste this ones here. But before I actually refresh, look at this. Didn't I remove them? Oh, I was supposed to save, right? But then how can I comment out this without ruining our things? So what I wanted to do, I just cut out that code. What I wanted us to do was just to observe this. There's nothing, right? I removed the background color from here at the cycles and then I put it inside the keyframes, right? So now they are down there. So each and every keyframe has what? Has a cycle black, right? Then let me see, let me say format document. Then remember what I said, that if I say dot one or just call one keyframe, it will just do the same properties there. So let me just say dot two here, then come there, but you already know this stuff. Let me just say, okay. So when it's like this, I know it's a longer code now. It's a longer code now since what do you call it? The other keyframes, we just used only one property there, and then that's it. Because even now, this is the first time we see how they go about. But in class, I did demonstrate a little bit that, okay, this is how we're going to work about it. And then we did the other example, okay? But then now I just want to polish much more further, right? So now, here's the thing. These are my time slots, just like that. Just like how we see a timeline, right? At 0%, we remember that this background color, this, right? But then now, this is what we remember most of the time. But then now, I want to clear out the concept of having 0 to 100%. Let me just crash out this, right? I'm gonna crash it out. Then let me also crash out maybe one other property in there, right? But because I wanted us to introduce them as of like we're still doing the normal animations, but then now this is now what I want. Okay, so I'm simply gonna have a certain time there because I know that the other dot must continue with the animation. We're gonna give it a certain percentage that other side, right? So I'll just say maybe at 0% the dot one is background color black, right? But anywhere else the dot will not have a background color. Okay, so at maybe let me say 25%. Now the dot 2, the second dot will have what? Will have the background color black. Okay, so at dot 3, maybe let's say 75%. No need to say that you're gonna end at 100%, right? But I'm gonna explain why I'm saying that let's not end at 100%, right? So let me just do like this. So I'm simply saying that now on the very beginning of the stage, my first dot must be what? Let me just go look at the dot. It must be pure black. But then this one can only be, what do you call it? Can only be black when we start to reach out 75% of our timeline, right? Remember, we have to find out 75% of 2 seconds, right? Right? It's at 1.5 seconds, right? So at 1.5 seconds, this black will appear. But this one, when we are, I mean, like this one will appear actually. Then this one, when we're at 25%, it will appear. Then this one at 0%, it will appear. But when this one comes in or this one comes in, the rest must fade out or just behave like just drop out the properties. Okay, because we defined that we only want background color from 25% or maybe 0%, but going to 50% we no longer want it. We didn't specify it, so we can't have it there, at least for this cycle. This cycle does not have a 50%, it only has 0%. This cycle does not have 0%, it only has 25%. So from 0 to 25%, it must be trying to appear. When it gets to 25%, it's pure black. So it's gonna start from, maybe let's say lightish black. Then this one, when it's somewhere around let me say 0 until 75%, it is trying to get to dark black. Maybe at 25%, still a little bit grayish, and then maybe at 50% towards dark gray, and then maybe no, definitely at 75% pure black. Okay, it's just complex, but we already know how to do those other animations. But I wanted us to think much more broader with this particular example in mind, right? So that is what I have here, or what I was explaining. Okay, so it means that from 0 or at 0%, it will be black, but going to 1%, it must no longer be black. It must drop the blackness. Then at 25%, this one must be what? Must be black. But 0 to 25, in between 0 and 25%, it must be going towards black. And then from 25 to 100%, it must be going where? Towards white or being transparent again. Let's just go and look. Right? You see? Okay, let me do like this so that you guys can see. Let me just say 21 here, 31 here. I'm just making them null, right? So that they're not there. You see what one does? It's just like 0% is dark, but going to 100% is getting lighter. And when it reaches 0% again, because we said it is infinite, now it gets to be what? Lighter again. No. I wanted to say going to 0% again, it gets darker. Then towards 100%, it gets lighter. I'm not sure if making much more sense. Let me just say like this. So this is, wait, I wanted a timeline, right? I'll just use this line here, 100%, right? I'll just use this line here and then 0%. Here, it's dark black, right? It's dark black. But going here, it starts to fade out, right? For the other one, it starts to be what? I'll just do like this, and then maybe do like this. No. Here it's still 0. Then here it's 100%. Then like this. The other cycle is at 25% here. 25%. It starts to be black here. But going there, it loses color. Okay, so on and so on and so on and so on. But in between this, it was doing what? Something was happening there. So we only gained color here and then lost it and then we only gained color here, then lost it. Here it was not even there anymore. Okay, so the only one which was there was what? Was this cycle one, C1. Then the one, this one, and then C3, the same logic will apply there. Okay, I know, it's complex a little bit. Okay, so let's just remove our 31s and 21s there. Right, so here's the thing. When we're talking about ease, or let me start with ease in, we're saying that when you're starting the animation, start it smooth and end it rough. Ease in, right? I'll show you the graph of it. Was it here? Nope. Yes, but I also is in, you see, but this one does not talk yet. Okay, let me just show you the graphical representations of them. These are the cubic graphs. Is in, is out actually cubic graphs, or the is graphs. I mean, the is properties are graphs, right? So what we are trying to say there is that I'm just going to give you guys a false logic or an imitation logic of what is happening there. So for is in, right, I will say that this is my graph of animation, right? Here it's 0. So I will say what? I will say go in smoothly but drop steeply, right? But then here, let me just do like this. I'll say it was a curve like this and then drop quickly. Remember that his is 2 seconds, right? Maybe here was that 1.5 seconds, 1.5 seconds, somewhere there. Okay, it's fine. Whatever seconds that were there. But what I'm trying to say is that on the very beginning, it was a smooth curve. You can see that it's like this smooth, right? But when we're going to the end, it's actually dropping, right? So yeah, that is that. But you can see that I'm trying to represent it the way that our minds can see it, but this side is actually this way, you see. But if I start sketching a graph going up there, yes, it is correct mathematically, but conceptually it's gonna lose us, isn't it? So even when we get to what is out, we're saying that start smoothly, right? But when we're, I mean, like start roughly, you see here it's about a straight line, okay? Then when you're about to end, put our story smoothly, right? You can see that almost these parts here are almost like a straight line, okay? Where was our ease in? Here, we started smoothly, it was a curve. But when we got here, going this side, you see where I'm sketching an invisible box. It's actually starting to be a straight line, something like that, right? So one could guess again to say that, okay, with is in out, we're saying that start smoothly and end smoothly, but along the way, do what? Just be rough. You can be faster. By rough, I meant faster. Okay, you can move in faster. Okay, so for is, it is the same as is in, is out. The only thing is that it will start what? How? Rough and then end smoothly. Almost like, no. It was almost like this one. No. Is out. It was almost like is out, but it had like a little bit of rough in, but going towards, or maybe towards growing the time, it is actually getting faster and faster and faster, and then eventually gets smoother, right? This one is much more complex to explain, but this ones are much more better to explain and experiment with. Okay, so now we see this side. You see, we use the word this side. We said is in. We said that start smoothly, and rough, right? So what about if we say is in, is out? I want us to observe first what's going on before I refresh. You see? Now this is in, is out. You see? Is in, is out is much more better when it comes to loading animations, right? So not generally better, but it handles animations good. Okay, not just loading animations, but animations in general, because there would be some other animations where this is not working perfectly. Okay, so one would say that, okay, let me go experiment with other properties. Yesterday we learned on the previous video, I said that I didn't do scale, so I can't demonstrate with scale. Remember that each and every class that we have to attend or deal with, I have to use the properties that you guys have learned, unless I'm introducing the one for that day. Okay, so now we have learned transformation, right? So we learned that there's a scale one, and then we noticed that when we say one, we mean 100% of the original size. So our original size is what? Is 250 pixels. We're talking about these circles because they shed what? The height and the width. Okay. So now I'm gonna say what? Um why did I put them here? Because here, oh, I was not supposed to put them in here. Let me just say one here. I was supposed to not put them in there. I'll just put them inside the keyframes, right? So I'll just remove them there, and then I'll do what? I'll be this side. So when I'm here, I'm maintaining my original size, but when I'm in the second cycle, when it starts to appear, let me say that I'm using 0.5% of the 250 pixels, or maybe when I get here, then I use what? Maybe 0.25, right? Or 25% of 250 pixels. Let's just go and see what it does there. So let me just zoom out a little bit, 100%, I'll refresh. Do you see what is happening? So this one, we said do not scale, but wouldn't it be better if we scale it too, right? So how about we said 0.25, 50%, maybe let's use 0.75 here. But remember that they will be coming from where? 250 pixels. So they will be starting from the original height and the width, because you still see that we see them going to 250 pixels again, right? And yeah, it's just that this one has a messed up logic, but this is what we get when we are trying something like this, right? Because they are having what? It is actually growing even there, right? Do you see it's like popping up first and so on and so on, right? So when I refresh like this, you see, but then I can do what? I can just maybe increase or reduce time. Let me just say 1 second there, right? If I put them like this, 1 second is a lot. It's too small, let me just say. So let's just give it 1.5 in between two, right? But again, what I'm noticing is that maybe it was gonna be better if we set 0.25 here, 25 here, and then maybe 75% this side. Okay. But then here they're almost like animated at the same time. Let me see. Okay, wait. So it's starting from there, and then this one, it's going back again, and then 25%. Okay, let me just do this for my document. Then let me just do like this. So when we're at 0%, this is what's happening. We're scaling it to 25. Maybe that was also too small. Maybe 45. Yeah, it's much more better, right? Right, it's much more better. So this side is just that it's fast, isn't it? And it's half the speed of their suggested speed. But this is how we go about it, right? So one might say that, okay, you know what? Um, let me just comment this one out. Let me just comment this one out. And then one might say that transform translate x no y, let me say 5 pixels. Is it 5 pixels? Then here maybe 10 pixels, maybe 5 pixels. Again, let me just see what's gonna happen, but it should be a bounce up sort of, right? Do you see how they are? It's like they are bouncing up and down sort of, right? Let me just say oh, oopsie, 15. Hey, 155 is a lot, right? And then here um let me say 20, then 15 here, so that we can see them bouncing, right? Do you see how they are? You see, so that this is just the power of CSS. So let me just say here was 15 pixel, a gap in between those cycles, okay, right? So this is how we go about it. I know it is difficult, but it might not be difficult because we went through the first practice and then the second practice, right? It's just that the only difficulty of it is that we want to utilize 3 keyframes. Okay, so my apologies on that one, but when we started out the boot camp, we said that we're gonna go from junior to being experts, isn't it? So, so yeah, it means that you were ready to take in even the hard parts. But I'm very, very impressed with the progress that we have made. Yeah, we can call ourselves now front end engineers, right? So I'll just add in maybe just extra few tutorials or tips since we are done. Then yeah, but if you need me, just make sure that you contact me on WhatsApp. Then yeah, we'll work things out. Okay, sure.